he is the driving force and producer behind the world's largest gathering of whistleblowers, enthusiasts, and anybody who's really into the mysterious and strange.
We literally work all year. That's how much work it is. It's 72 speakers in from all over the world. It's herding cats.
At least one time a year where everybody in this community can be under one roof.
You're going to be in seventh heaven. You're not going to want to sleep.
This year's theme is Infinite Realms.
We have the whole resort. So basically, for 4 days, 100% people involved in Contact in the Desert. It's a serious scientific academic conference, but other than that, it's a giant party.
I've heard people describe it as the Woodstock of the UFO community. If you can get to Indian Wells, California, May 28th to June 1st, try to get there. The countdown is on. In just a few weeks, the global UAP community will descend on the California desert for the largest disclosure event of the year. But before the first speaker takes the stage at the Renaissance Esmeralda on May 28th in Indian Wells, California, we're going to be talking to one of the main forces behind Contact in the Desert. We're going to see what it takes to produce and just put on the keystone event that Contact in the Desert is. So I'm Joe Biscotto. This is Beyond Top Secret, presented by UAP Reporting Center. And today is a man who's become a staple in the UAP community. And he's done that by bridging the gap between high-level research and public engagement. Veteran podcaster, he's a board member of the Hollywood Disclosure Alliance, and most notably, he is the driving force and producer behind the world's largest gathering of whistleblowers, enthusiasts, and anybody who's really into the mysterious and strange. We're talking about none other than Contact in the Desert. So please welcome the host of Beyond Contact on iHeartRadio and the Coast to Coast Radio Network, and the man at the helm of the desert's most anticipated event of the year, Captain Ron Janix. Ron, how are you, sir?
Doing great, Joe. We're getting busy. We're about a month out now.
I can't imagine what goes into putting on an event of this magnitude.
We literally work all year. We take the rest of June off, but we start in July planning for the following year. That's how much work it is. It genuinely is. I've my producer and friend Bree. We start working in earnest in July, and by August we're off and running. And there's stuff to do. Coming up with the theme, coming up with the speaker list, whittling that down. Do we want to do something different? Just keeping an eye on things. There's always stuff to work on with this.
Yeah, I'm sure between everybody that wants to be a speaker, you only have so many speaker slots, getting the location locked down, the food, drinks, the logistics must be just unimaginable.
We're flying 72 speakers in from all over the world. I mean, it's herding cats. So, that's just the nature of this, bringing these people together. And then once we're there, it's great because everybody's like, okay, we're all in the same space,
Absolutely. So, Ron, for those who may not know who you are, maybe tell the audience who you are and kind of how did you get involved with Contact in the Desert?
Well, I had been podcasting, as you mentioned beforehand, with Tony Sweet on Truth Be Told since I think it was 2013 when we got that going in earnest. And that just sort of grew. And then in 2015 was when I discovered Contact in the Desert. I actually found a flyer for it, and I'd never heard of it, even though I was doing a podcast for a few years in this area. For whatever reason, I had never heard of Contact in the Desert. And I saw this flyer, and it had all these A-list guys on it, and I thought to myself, my God, I have to go to this. And it was when it was still out in the desert. It was at Joshua Tree National Park, literally in the desert. People were camping, it was like Burning Man almost. And I went out there by myself, and I went to it, and it was unbelievable. It was a game changer for me. It was so incredible to see all these people together and getting to interact with these guys and meet these guys and hear the latest research. So that got me all excited about Contact. And eventually I got to know the owners, and I kind of became involved a little bit. And I kind of would do some introductions and hosting and stuff for them, and kind of introduce some of the speakers that were upcoming for the season on the podcast. So I kind of became involved in that way, and I was just like a super fan of it. And then COVID happened, And obviously that was terrible, and they didn't have it that year. So Lori Moriarty and I created this online version of Contact in the Desert. Basically, we came up with something called the Observation Deck, and it was this online version basically of Contact in the Desert. We had multiple rooms. We had a big arena. You would go in there like with a little avatar, and you would make the avatar look like you.
Oh,
And
wow.
Danny Sheehan would go in there, and he had this big white afro, and Richard Dolan would go in there. He'd have the little beard. You would recognize Dolan by seeing his avatar. It was this really cool thing. And so we did a couple different events in there. We had it for about a year. And we did a variety of UFO-related events. We did a big Travis Walton thing, and Travis was in there. And we did a whole bunch of things in there. It was a lot of fun, but it was just too much work and too expensive to keep it going. But it was just really sort of something to do during COVID to kind of bridge that gap, And then they didn't do Contact in the Desert in 22. In 21, they did an online version. So what happened was they finally decided to sell it, and Gordon Peckrell, who used to own UFO MegaCon in Laughlin, and he did various events in Vernal, Utah, he bought it. And then I got to meet with him and Victoria, and he let me come in and own it with him. So off to the races we went in 22, and we've done 4 of these, and it's just fantastic. And it's been going great. It's growing every year. It's really, we take it very seriously. We work very hard at it. We try to make it the best possible event it can. We put everything right back into the show, and it's grown into this monster, and we love it.
Yeah, this will be my first year, and I cannot tell you how excited I am to go. I've been urging everybody on my Twitter, UAP Reporting Center on Twitter, go follow me, but I probably post at least once or twice a week. I even made a little short with footage I found online of Contact in the Desert, urging everybody to go. It's at least one time a year where everybody in this community can be under one roof, actually feel like you're part of a community.
Very much so.
Yeah, and meet the people you talk to on Twitter all year long, or wherever you talk, or on Reddit, or whatever the case may be. But
100%. And you get to meet the speakers, and you get to interact with them, and you meet other people from all over the world. We had people from Belgium and Stockholm and Beijing all over last year. So it's incredible. And people, leave politics and nonsense at the door, and we just keep this curious vibe. And I always like to say that people don't use their phones like they normally do, because they're actually engaged in these conversations. You're going to love it, Joe. You're going to be in seventh heaven. You're not going to want to sleep. And there's always something to do. There's something going on pretty much round the clock.
I just can't wait. I just got back. I went to vacation. My wife and I went to Mexico. It's a beautiful resort. Don't tell my wife, and I'm 10 times more excited about coming to Contact in the Desert and just kind of being with our people for a few days and talking UFOs to people who don't look at me funny,
That's another unique thing about this event, Joe, is a lot of these other conferences and other events I've gone to, sometimes they're just like a part of a big thing, like it's at a casino or it's at another thing. We have the whole resort. So basically for 4 days, Thursday, technically we're not, but it pretty much is. But the other 4 days is 100% people involved in Contact in the Desert. So whether you're in line to get food, you're checking in, you're checking out, that person's involved with Contact in the Desert. So you just can talk to everybody. And it makes it a very unique experience as well, because we're all kind of there for the same reason. So you're kind of among your people, it's very unique.
Yeah, I would bet probably some of the best conversations, the whole thing probably happened at the bar.
That's the God's honest truth. Yes.
Yeah.
Because a lot of people, especially if you're a professional writer or speaker, you may not want to say things on stage that you might say at the bar, for example, as you said.
Exactly right. So this year's theme is Infinite Realms. And I find that interesting. We're seeing a lot of even the speakers who are speaking this year focusing on the kind of the intersection between consciousness and reality. is the founder and lead investigator for UAP Reporting Center. I'm seeing more and more and more like nuts and bolts researchers actually starting to look at the interdimensional angle of things, the consciousness angle of things. And was that shift intentional for this year's programming?
100%. This sort of came to me in July, and then we have our big annual meeting down in Mexico, and I sort of pitched it to everybody, and we all kind of built on it. It just feels like you said, 10 years ago, this felt very much nuts and bolts, and it's really spread out from there. But I was also just thinking about how there does seem to be all these other things that people talk about, these realms, if you will, the realms of the afterlife realm, even the quantum realm in our world. There's the quantum world now that people talk about. And, psychedelics, DMT, the DMT realm. In throughout history, there's the realm of the jinn, the spirit world. You could even say the simulation hypothesis it takes place in this realm. The hill is something that these kids, the autistic savant children, claim they go to this place and they talk to one another on the hill. That's realm. Where are all these realms, The ultra-terrestrial realm, the collective unconscious, the dream realm. There's just so many different little realms. Now, who knows? Are these all the same? Or maybe they're the Venn diagram and they all overlap a little bit and then they kind of touch ours? We don't know. But it seems like that's a fun angle to take a look at this and what's happening in these other realms, and how can we find out, and how do they touch our world, and that kind of a thing. So that this is a realm, the 3D reality that we're in right now.
Yeah, I think you're absolutely spot on with your timing and having it this year. Just speaking for myself, I was always kind of a nuts and bolts sort of guy. They're coming from another planet. It was just the last maybe 2 years that my mind has really opened up, where I think that also might be a part of it. And it probably is at some point, but I think it's hard to deny that there is something to the consciousness part of this. And even if 10% of it is spot on, that's all you need. All you need is one instance of this to happen for it to prove that it's real.
And two things can be true, Joe. I think you're right. I think it could be both. I think there could be interplanetary things happening as well as interdimensional things happening, or these other realms, people coming here. But like yourself, I was very much of that school as well. And because I always thought that didn't require magic, because that's the thing that loses people. Like even mainstream religion requires these magical things and going to heaven and dying and resurrecting, these things that are not possible, that are magic, if you will. And people are devout believing in that, but they don't believe in aliens. The alien thing doesn't require anything but time and technology to me. Why couldn't there be another intelligent life that Apple computers 10,000 years from now could build a ship to travel that far? No magic, no, nothing, just technology, just advanced understanding of the physical world. So to me, that was like an easy leap that could be possible, because they could be 9 billion years ahead of us, So why couldn't they maybe have had more time and been able to develop some technology? So I thought that was always the thing. But it does seem to be either both or it is that they're traveling interdimensionally or from one of these other realms. There definitely seems to be something to this. So I thought it was a good idea to try to explore that. So a lot of our speakers touch on these things too, which is really interesting.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to the speaker list for sure. I actually interviewed Walter Bosley a few weeks ago, one of the speakers. Oh my God, I could listen to that guy talk for probably 24 hours straight. Just absolutely fascinating. For the people who are watching, if you're going to Contact in the Desert, check out when Walter Bosley speaks. You'll be fascinated. No spoilers, but go listen to him talk, because what a storyteller. And between that and his background as a Air Force Office of Special Investigations agent and so much work with the government, that. He's a legit serious player who's got a hell of a story to tell.
He does, and it shows you how easy it is. Like, it's not like this disinformation campaign has to be this, we're going to put out this whole new story. It was interesting to me how he says it's just a little nudge. They just want to control the narrative a little bit their way. So you just get someone to believe a little bit more likely this way. Like, it's just a nudge. And then people run with it, and it's easier than we would at face value think. And I found that fascinating.
Yeah, I completely agree. And I think the internet has made the government's job so much easier because, like, well, they put a little bit of disinformation or whatever, and people run with it, and then the truth just gets lost in the crowd.
I think that's by design, and it's all lost in the shuffle. And it's very unfortunate because it makes everything we're all trying to do here that much more difficult because it's hard to know what's real. And in today's world with, obviously artificial intelligence and Photoshop and all these things, that makes it even more difficult. I mean, it's just now already, I even catch myself, no matter what somebody sends me, UFO related or not, a dog running up to somebody, I think immediately I go to probably AI.
Yeah.
Immediately. And that's a shame. It's like, no, maybe a dog could catch a ball. You know what I mean? It's
Right.
like, it's sad, kind of, in a way.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. I'm the same way. It's almost made video and picture kind of irrelevant in the whole conversation, which is crazy. Because can anybody take a good picture?
Yeah. Now we have a good picture, and that's not good anymore. Yeah, right.
You can't win.
Can't win, man.
Yeah. So, Ron, for the skeptics or newcomers who are watching this interview, what would you say to the person who thinks contact is just little green man, there's nothing to it? How has the conference evolved into like a serious academic and scientific gathering, but also being a lot of fun at the same time?
That's exactly, you hit it on the head, man. That's exactly what it is. It's just like, well, go and then complain. It's like, it is that. It's always, that's sort of been the lane. I see these things as different conferences, different events, different functions, have different lanes and callings, if you will. Contact always kind of was the more serious event, I felt. And I just think we've just taken that tradition and moved it even further. We have I don't know, 18 or 19 PhD speakers this year. We really lean into the science. We lean into the practical explanations, and it's all kinds of things. Contact touches all sorts of different areas. So it's not at all just centered on this. We do talk about UFOs. We talk about propulsion. We have a couple of astronomers who explain how we could get there from here, and what's the space station and what's Venus and what to look for and that kind of thing. We also lean into the psi thing. Dr. Diane Hennessy Powell is, to me, just remarkable and doing an incredible job of getting this out. How telepathy's, at least with these savant children, completely real. It's absolutely amazing. And Dahlia will be there. Dahlia Bourgeon does demonstrations, and it's incredible. And people can do the mind sight. We have a lot of mind sight demonstrations, and we have little workshops where you can learn to do it yourself. Gordon and I have taken a couple of these classes. It's remarkable what you can do. We were amazed because we figured these two idiots can't do anything. And we could to some degree do this stuff already, just in a few days of trying it. It's remarkable. So there's a lot of real things going on, and there's real military whistleblowers, and having a chance to talk to different people with different schools of thought on these things, I think is very valuable. So it's not at all the silliness that I think some people think it might be. It's not. Now, it's a serious scientific academic conference in the thing, but other than that, it's a giant party. I mean, it's a lot of fun. We've got live bands, we have DJs, we have meet and greet parties where you hang out with the speakers. I mean, people have a lot of fun here. It's a good time.
I've heard people describe it as the Woodstock of the UFO community.
Yeah, I've heard that too. We hear that. It's a big carnival. We have 7 stages going. You got to decide what you want to do at every given time of day. We also have like 6 different movies. We're playing 4 brand new world premiere movies this year. We're really kind of leaning into the movies too. They've had several different filmmakers that have come out recently with really remarkable things. And Caroline Corey has a movie called Superhuman 2, which she'll premiere at Contact, and it's going to lean into these psi abilities too. And we have people that were in her film there that will talk about how they were able to test these things. And that's what we love. You know, they're not just doing the mind sight, they're putting sensors on people's eyelids and showing that there's zero darkness, and they're in total darkness doing this, and they're still able to see and perceive things around them. It's really remarkable stuff.
Yeah, that's interesting. I mean, when you think about it, I forget what the number is, but we only use a certain percentage of our brain, a very small percentage. What is the rest of it there for if we're not using it?
Yeah, I mean, I've heard that. I've heard that's not real, but I mean, it does,
I could be crazy then. I probably saw it on Twitter.
Who knows? I always think that, yeah, it wouldn't be there if we weren't using it. And there's a reason for it. You know, it's even like when they say, oh, that's just junk DNA. I just don't think that there's...
So how does that mean?
Base that's junk DNA. I think
it wouldn't be there if it was junk.
We just don't know what it is yet, but that's the way we explain things in the world until we understand them. Then it's like, oh, well, no, that's this. So I think eventually we'll know what junk DNA is, and there's probably some purpose for that too.
I agree. I mean, the human body is basically the perfect organism. There's nothing inside of us that's not needed. Nothing. It all serves its purpose.
Why would they waste? Yeah, exactly.
So, is there any kind of sky watches that happen or anything like that?
100%. On Friday night, you can actually take a bus and go out into the desert with Ben Hansen and Mark D'Antonio, and they will. Your true darkness when you're out in the desert, because there's no city lights there, and you can really see the sky. It's incredible, depending where you're coming from. Absolutely amazing. And they will point out to you, they set up a giant screen and they point out, what certain planets are and what the space station is and how to spot rocket launches, all kinds of stuff. It's great. And then on Sunday night, we have Chris Bledsoe doing a sky watch, and, he'll try to do his version of CE5 or whatever. And people love that. Every Sunday night we do that. It's really great.
Oh, that'll be fun. I look forward to that. It sounds like there's a little bit of everything going on here. Like you said, 7 stages, all kinds of different things going on. You can link up with the speakers, ask questions, meet like-minded people. So
we cover so many different topics, Joe. It's UFOs and it's aliens and it's experiencers and it's psi abilities and it's mind sight. And it's the pyramids, and it's the new LIDAR discoveries under the pyramids, and it's ancient alien theories, and it's the latest scientific discoveries that we've got. And Dr. Avi Loeb will be there, and he's going to talk about, there's these new telescopes coming on. It's called the Extra Large Telescope or something like that. The name is like so obvious, it's hilarious. But it's going to give us a way to triangulate and have such better view of the sky from Earth. It's going to be really incredible. So there's a lot of things happening technology-wise that should open up our ability. As much as it's hurting us with artificial intelligence can help us watch the skies and find anomalies and point out these things. So I think there's a lot of that going on. And then we have military witnesses, and Danny Sheehan's going to be talking about getting the UAP Act passed again. They're going to reintroduce that into some legislation. So incredible stuff.
Yeah, it sounds like there's a little bit of something for everybody there, whether you're into the consciousness-based aspect, disclosure from the government aspect with military people being there and people like Danny Sheehan, the consciousness aspect, interdimensional. It sounds like there's something there for everybody, which is
100%.
Pretty cool.
We're having the guys there that testified before Congress as well. Jeffrey Nusatelli's there, George Knapp will be there, George Norrie will be there. It's so much. It's just a lot of fun.
Yeah, I'm definitely looking forward to it. And so I'm currently finishing up a book I've written. It's called The Disclosure War. And I'm looking at the gatekeeping happening in Washington, D.C. right now, specifically withholding UAP footage. So you're on the board of the Hollywood Disclosure Alliance. Do you think the great reveal is going to happen through a government press release, or are we going to maybe see it through independent media in events like yours?
I'm of the school now. Steve Bassett, the founding member of the Hollywood Disclosure Alliance with Dan Harari, they think, Steve certainly, that disclosures coming from the president's office, big D disclosure, is going to happen, and it's going to happen imminently. I am not of that school of thought. I don't think that's going to happen in my lifetime, sadly. I love that we're getting a lot more attention to this. I love that they're getting these videos out. I love that there's about a dozen Congress people now who take this topic very seriously and are genuinely pushing to get more information out. It is my belief that this information, we're asking the wrong people, the people that really hold this information, depending what we do have, which I do think there is something that we have. They're buried in this black budget special access program that is covered up. They're not asking them. They're asking Arrow and these front-facing things. And then those agencies can honestly say, yeah, we looked. We've got a few pilots that saw a few lights. Here, you can have it.
Right.
And they say we don't have anything else. And I don't think they're lying. I think that is what they have. And I think that's all that those guys have. The real, heart of the matter, you're not getting them. You're not going to get to them. And even if you get some of this request, they're not going to give it up. I don't see any reason to do that. So I don't think that's going to happen.
Yeah, I agree. There's a reason that the committee doesn't have subpoena power. They're never going to get the right people, like you were just.
But you wouldn't even know who to subpoena if you could. All of this is so convoluted. I talk to these guys and they're like, well, I can't, it's so frustrating when we hear them testify in Congress. It's like the greatest thing. And then every good question, they're like, I can't talk about it here. I'll tell you in skiff.
Right.
And then you find out they can't tell them in a skiff because the guy asking the question's not read in on that program. He doesn't have the classification to hear the answer.
Right.
So
and
even though he's saying in a skiff,
they can't talk about it because they heard it in a skiff.
And then you hear these guys like Lukatsky and people have talked to Knapp who say, it is in your classification that you can lie to Congress. This is above top secret or whatever, however they call it. So they're not going to say it. And the guy asking the question is not allowed to know about it. So it's a whole convoluted thing. So unless we get somebody from that inner core legacy program that really wants to come out, great. I thought Age of Disclosure was fantastic. All those guys are kind of on the fringe of it, and they have a little bit of knowledge, and that's awesome. And them coming forward is amazing, and it's moving the needle, and it's wonderful. I still think the real dirt's buried, and I don't think they're ready to give it up.
I completely agree. Until somebody comes out and rips up their non-disclosure agreement, right, and has the goods, has photos or documents or whatever, yeah, we're always going to have more questions than we have answers.
Agreed.
Yeah, absolutely. So maybe some of the lesser known speakers. Is there anybody you recommend people check out that are speaking this year?
Well, we didn't talk about Diana Pasulka.
Great instance.
Yeah. I mean, she's fantastic. I don't know. I don't even know if I'd call her a lesser known, but she's not in some of these things. She's not out there all the time, but she's got some really incredible work and she looks at these things. A favorite of mine is Dr. Thomas Campbell. Do you know him?
No, I don't think I'm familiar.
Well, here's the title of his big book. It's My Big Toe. And I was like, what? And then it's My Big Theory of Everything. And I went,
got you.
And he's a physicist, and it's basically the simulation theory, but the way he frames it, it's a lot more palatable, and it was understanding for me to grasp it, because I always thought that just kind of meant, we're in some hard drive of an alien or whatever. It's not that at all. He just explains it that it's a closed system with a set of rules. Data comes in, data comes out. This is how it works, and things get rendered. And he's got an answer for everything, and it's really, really incredible stuff. So I think Tom Campbell is a real hidden gem. If you guys don't know who that is, that's somebody definitely to check out. Caroline Corey has done really amazing stuff. She has really began in the last 5 or 10 years leaning into science even more. Her movies, Superhuman and Superhuman 2 coming out. She's got scientists. She wants to get this scientifically validated. She did another film where she brought film crew to film UFOs over Catalina Island, and she had all kinds of equipment. They were measuring temperature, degrees of movement, lights, all these things. And I think she's doing a really great job. So that's fantastic. The actor Thomas Jane is an incredible wealth of knowledge on these topics. He's a great speaker. He knows all the folklore. He knows all the different schools of thought up and down. He's awesome. Anthony Peake is another guy that's awesome. Do you know Deep Prasad?
No.
Yeah, well, that's another guy. That's one of these whiz kid guys. He's like Sheldon or something. He graduated college like really young, and he's got these tech companies. So he's super whiz kid. He's super smart. He talks about AI and physics and really great stuff. I mean, it's just incredible high level stuff. We have Sarah Gam, another name you may not have heard of.
Yeah,
she was on the UAP
Yep.
task force, and
Yep.
it's pretty great how open she is about what she saw and how she could see something and say right away that, yeah, that's not made here on Earth. That's not ours. You know, it feels to me like that would be somebody I would think they would hire that would know, right? I mean, it's very compelling testimony. I love that kind of stuff. So
Yeah, I completely agree. She should. I always was of the mind she should be getting a lot more attention than she does. She's one of the few insiders that have come forward. So, or maybe that's why she's not getting as much attention as she should be.
well, you know, she's great. She's coming out now. I think this is a good platform for her. We'll get her some more exposure, and more people come to know her. You know, Paul Smith's going to be there, and he's a legendary remote viewer, and he's always got great stuff. It's just the biggest problem with Contact in the Desert, if you're an attendee, is what do I see next? Because there's going to be at least 6, probably 7 choices on what to do every hour of the day.
Yeah, I'm a veteran in music festival, so I know the pain of trying to decide which band to go see.
That's it.
The painful choices.
It's the same thing. And you don't really have to be immersed in this community. That's the beauty of Contact, because my little mission is more to get people that are outside this community. They're already on board. They're already interested. I want to show people that, look, there's something to this. We clearly do not understand everything that's happening in our 3D world, and we do not have a really good understanding of consciousness yet. So those are the things we need to do. We need to get a better understanding of what consciousness is and how it works, and of how the whole nature of reality works. So Contact's a great gathering place to kind of discuss these ideas and see if we can't move that needle a little bit further.
Yeah, I think that's perfect. The whole idea, like you were just kind of saying, is to get more and more people involved in this subject who can then put pressure on Congress or the media, whoever. The more people that are paying attention, the more attention the subject itself is going to get. So
that's why I love when this stuff's on TV or it's in the news or they're talking about. I love that these congressmen are pushing it. It's getting people to be more open to this idea. I think it's great, Joe. I'm with you.
Yeah, and we've made more progress in the last few years, I think, than we have in the last 80, as far as the issue becoming mainstream and being on the news, like you just said, and hearings in Congress. And
this last decade dominates the last 70 years. This last 10 has really, really changed things. No doubt about it.
Yeah, I always wish Art Bell was around to see it. His shows would have been a fire right now.
Oh, for sure. Absolutely. Well, we do have George Norrie and Coast to Coast. They're still going strong, which is wonderful.
Yeah, and George does a fantastic job. No doubt about that.
He's doing a George and George panel. We're going to get George Norrie and George Knapp together again talking, which is great. these are two legendary guys, and it's just really fun having them banter.
You're not going to see that anywhere else.
Legendary guys, man. It's great.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Can I ask, what got you interested in UFOs in the first place? Was there any kind of...
I just sort of had a lifelong interest in it to a degree. And then, the two classic books you have to read, I always say, which is Communion and Chariots of the Gods. I read those back in the day, and I thought, gosh, there's something to this. I don't know why this isn't on regular TV. Why isn't this in the news? Why is nobody talking about this? So I've always had that interest started from there. And then once I got involved with Truth Be Told, I went all in on this. So it's been about 13 years or so.
That's awesome. We're glad to have you. You play a big part in this community. So
I appreciate that, man.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. What's the vibe like in person that somebody can't get from watching online? What would you say the main difference is?
Well, I watch a lot of YouTube videos, and I get it. It's great. You get a lot of information that way, but it's just not the same thing. If you're shaking somebody's hands or looking eye to eye, man to man over a beverage, it's just, there's something more credible about that. Something more, there's some more weight to it to a degree. I feel like you can get a better sense if somebody's telling the truth or what this meant to them. Sometimes they get emotional, I think being in person is really, really the fun. That's really it's the next level.
Yeah.
If you can't do it, we do offer, we record everything, and we do have a live stream going in the main giant crystal ballroom the whole time. So we do have an option where people can watch it from home, watch and participate, and there's chat rooms, and there you can do all kinds of different things. It's the company that does it is Pursuing X. They do an amazing job for us, and so we do have that option. I personally think being there in person is the real sweet spot, because you just never know who you're going to get to talk to. I've had just magical moments, 5 minutes with somebody I never thought I'd meet, and talking to people from all over the world. How cool is that? There's just something to live.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. And speaking of YouTube, the people that you watch on YouTube every day, you can actually talk to them in person or see them walk by or whatever. So it only happens once a year. So if you can make your way to Indian Wells, California on May 28th at the Renaissance Esmeralda, try to get there. It's the singular UFO event of the year. There's other great conferences, but I don't think any of them measure up at even close to Contact in the Desert. So if you can get there, try to get there.
I used to tell people, if you do one, that's the one to go to. That's what I used to say to people back way before I had nothing to do with it. And I was like, you know what? That's that. For me, it was always the one, because there's so much. You're going to get something out of this, regardless of what your level of interest in this is. You're going to have something that you enjoy. Even the setting is insane. They have Vegas-style pool with like a beach there, and it's in the middle of the desert, and there's palm trees and mountains. It's really a special place.
Oh, that sounds awesome. I really cannot wait to go. I'm counting down the days.
Not me. I need another couple of weeks, as always.
I'm sure. You're
everybody I talk to, like, oh God, it's coming up so fast. That's great. I'm like, no, I need another. Let's push it out to 1 week. We have that every year. It's just the way it is. I got to get used to it.
Yeah, I'm sure. I just got back from one of the biggest conventions in the world, Con Expo in Las Vegas, the construction equipment industry, and it's just absolutely massive. So I see a little bit of what kind of goes into it, and yeah, I'm not envious of putting that together. That's for sure. But also, it's probably a whole lot of fun you're having as well.
No doubt about it. It's great.
Where can people get tickets or get updates?
ContactInTheDesert.com has everything on there. If they use Captain 10, they can get 10% off. And you want to do that right away, because I think May 1st prices go up a little bit. And that's the final. We kind of stagger it throughout the season. So I use Captain 10, and that'll give you 10% off. But Contact in the Desert has everything. It's got Beyond Contact on there, so you can see everything that's happening with the podcast all year long. It kind of keeps us connected. You can kind of stay in touch with Contact throughout the year now because we have the podcast. We also have like a captain's log, as we call it, for a little blog that we post different things about. So it's a good source for that. It's all the information about the speakers are on there. We have their bios, their photos, what they're going to be talking about. And you can kind of plan out your trip a little bit too and see, definitely want to hear this talk, or I definitely need to see that talk, or what have you.
Yeah, I think it's good to have a plan. Like look at the speaker list, look at everything they have going on, and don't be rigid in your planning, but identify the speakers you might want to see or events you might want to attend. So
you can't go wrong with the panels. We have every single panel we have this year is sick in my view. Every panel. We have 6 people on just about every single panel, and they will have an open discussion about whatever the topic it is. UFOs, disclosure, psi abilities, what have you. That's what I would lean into personally. I think that's what the live stream is basically focuses on the panels, because you get a chance to take in so many different speakers. You get 6 at a time. So you got 6 guys talking about the same thing and from their vantage point. I think that's always been the most fascinating to me, to hear how these guys relate to one another and how they see things slightly differently, or sometimes the same. And you start seeing patterns, and you start seeing, it's a great way to have them exchange ideas and talk about these things.
Yeah, I find panels fascinating. Like I'm a little bit of a nerd. I follow Game of Thrones, the books though, Song of Ice and Fire. They have all these cons, and I am always watching the panels, people discussing the books, and I find that to be some of the most fascinating part of the whole thing, even more so than speakers. And
I agree. That's your best money right there, just to go sit in the panels, and then you can hear these guys, especially if you're new to a topic. Maybe you don't know about psi abilities, and then they're going to talk about that, or DMT. Some people never even heard of that. Well, now here's 6 experts discussing how DMT works and what it does. And, you hear how people that do DMT say it's more real than reality. It's like, what? And then we heard people with near-death experiences say the same thing, that felt more real than when they came back here. Wow.
There's so many crazy stories. Like DMT, I've never done it. I've kind of wanted to. But just the idea that all these people from all over the world are taking this and they're seeing the same things.
Yeah. Ayahuasca certainly does that, where you have somebody on the other side of the world, and they talk to somebody that did it over here, and they're like, yeah, well, when you walked in and you went to the left, there was the snake woman or whatever. What? How is that possible?
Right. And the machine elves with DMT.
Yes, exactly.
There has to be something to that.
There's all kind, and then Danny Goler's this guy who's been studying DMT, and they now, there's people who can, when they're on DMT, they shine a laser on the wall, and people are able to see a code in the laser, in the light. And it's something about, because you're in this digital space, it's fascinating stuff. It's really out there. It's incredible. And I think 100 years from now, we're going to have a lot better understanding of a lot of these things, and that'll be fascinating. But in the meantime, I think let's get as close as we can to learning as much as we can about this stuff. What's life all about, right? This is the human experience. I think learning about these things is about as exciting of a thing we can do with our human experience that there is.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. And I wish the government took that more seriously as well, as far as DMT and ayahuasca. And maybe they are, and we just don't know it. But I think there's so much potential there to unlock what the brain or the mind or consciousness really is.
I agree. I just think everything moves glacially, Joe. It's like they're going to pass this psychedelic thing to help people with PTSD and other things right now. That's about to pass literally today or tomorrow. They're passing that, which is great. They've taken cannabis off of a Schedule I drug, which is great. So these things just move glacially. It's very slow, but eventually
it is progress.
yeah, it's progress. We're moving in the right direction, just slowly. I feel that way about all of these things. Academia is very slow to change their mind and the way they viewed things. But, these people that we are talking about, are on the cutting edge of what's going to change our belief system.
I agree. You can even go to human history with that. Like archaeologists and stuff are so rigid in our history and when humanity began and who built the pyramids, and that it takes so much for them to go back and say, okay, maybe we were wrong.
They don't want to ever say that, and it's horrible.
Exactly.
I don't know why that's such a big deal, but that is the answer right there. And we eventually, again, at a glacial pace, we do see that happen. And Joe, it always goes back further, right? It used to be we were 100,000 years, then we were 150. Now it's 200,000, 210, 220. It always we're older. And then, Göbekli Tepe and these other things were 13,000 years old. Wow, we did build stone structures 13,000 years ago.
Right.
It's incredible. So, it's hard to date these things, but it's incredible as we keep uncovering more and more. I wish I could flash forward about 400 years and see what we know.
Oh my God. Hey, maybe, who knows? Maybe we'll be able to see it from wherever we are.
I certainly hope so. And that's certainly in the Michael Newton school of thought, and a lot of the near-death experiencers would tell you that you can.
Right. And I know there's something out there. I've only ever had one strange experience in my life, but it was enough to know for a fact, beyond a shadow of a doubt, there is something more. I'll just make it real quick, but a friend of mine and myself, one night we were bored. So we went to this old abandoned tuberculosis hospital that shut down decades ago. It's in the middle of a mountain. It's just a couple of shells of buildings and a fence. So we're in this room, we do the old, if there's anybody here, give us this, that whole thing, So as soon as I say it, right in front of me, mist in the shape of a person literally materialized from the ground up, literally in arms, shoulders, legs, walked by us, maybe about a couple steps, got past us, vanished. I turned around to the person I was with. She's like, before I said a word, she's like, I saw it. No, not a moment later, her earring came out of her ear, flew across the room, and bounced off the wall.
Wow.
It was the most incredible. And I think of myself, I'm a grounded person. I believe in all this, but I'm just by nature, I'm a grounded person. Like I need to see evidence. And for me, that was, there's what that something is, I have no idea. But right then and there, there's something more to life.
For sure. I mean, that would transform anybody, I would think, Joe. That sounds like a very compelling case. And then, what is that? Is that a ghost? Is that an alien being? Is that somebody coming from another dimension? What is it? What realm is that coming from?
Right.
How does it interact with ours? And,
that's the whole question, right?
What do you do? Yeah. It's remarkable to me how often, even people that are not into the subject matter at all, how often they will have at least one thing. I used to say this all the time, but it's 100% true today, because inevitably I end up talking to people about this kind of stuff. And if they have no interest in it, they tell me, yeah, no, it's not my thing. I swear to God, 7 out of 10 times it'll happen where they go, there was this one time my dad and I were on a boat and this light came, and they have their story. It's remarkable how more often than not, everybody I meet has a story. One. Even if it's a light, or look at yours as like, I don't know, what do you call that? A ghost maybe, or a spirit being, or some sort of thing. That's a pretty compelling story, and I bet you were pretty scared at the time. I would have been.
And then actually we walked out, and there was so it was all like the whole place is surrounded by this big tall chain link fence. We walk out and they're over to the side along the fence in these tall weeds. There was this big pile of like old busted TVs and this like metal stuff. And it started shaking, like loud, like rumbling and shaking. And at that point, we got the hell out of there. But yeah, it was pretty scary. But at the, like, what was it? Well, you know, and are they?
How do you sleep that night, Joe?
Oh my God, it was terrifying. Honest to God, it was terrifying.
Yeah, I don't want to have that kind of experience, to be honest. People always say, like, yeah, do you want to see an alien or would you go on it? No, I have no interest in that. No.
It scared the shit out of you.
I wouldn't mind. I'd love to see like a ship with like at Contact or something where there's 100 people there or 1,000 people and it came into view and it took off. It doesn't mean it's alien, but I would like to see that because I think that would be a cool experience. But I do not want to wake up to a mantis looking beast standing there. I
shadow people in your bedroom.
No. No interest in that.
Yeah,
I went to an experience recently and they were recounting their stories like that. And every one of them, I was like, oh my God, if I wake up and see that at the end of the bed, I'm jumping out the window. I'm not ready for this. So I used to think, God, if I'm surrounded by this talk all the time, maybe that'll open me up to this, which is what people will say to you. And I'm like, no, I hope not.
Right.
I'm not ready for that.
I'm still conflicted about that. Like I want to, like the summoning. I want to believe it, and I'm coming.
That's a light in the sky, Joe. I'm talking about you waking up with a 9-foot mantis being.
Oh my God!
In bed. Are you fine with that, Joe?
Oh my God! No, I'd be absolutely terrified.
Yeah,
I probably wouldn't be able to move a muscle. I'd be so terrified.
Which is what they say happens, that you become, sleep paralysis kind of a experience where you're frozen there, which is even worse.
Did that ever happen to you?
No, I've never had anything. Thank God I've never had anything like that.
It happened to me one time in my life. I was in bed with my wife and I was awake. I couldn't open my eyes. I couldn't move. I was trying with every ounce of my being to like tap my wife to wake me up. Couldn't move. No matter how hard I tried, I couldn't move a finger. Couldn't move. It probably lasted maybe a minute. But why would that only happen once in your life? Like if that was going to happen, you think it'd be like a pattern. Is there something more to it?
You would think. We don't know a lot about that phenomenon yet. What caused it? Could you have eaten something that reacted to your system? Could you have inadvertently taken? Who knows? Who knows? We don't know. But
right.
Or it could have been a paranormal in nature. We don't know. Maybe there was a spirit coming by, or maybe there was. All of these things we're dealing with are unknowns, of course. So it's so hard to say. But I do think it's our calling to find out, and who wouldn't be interested in knowing these things? Like I'm curious as to what the heck that could have been that you saw. I mean, it took a human form. Well, why is that? I don't know. It's interesting.
Yeah, and there's no doubt it was there. It walked, it moved, it had shoulders, it had legs. It was like translucent, but like a mist almost. But it was incredible. But and I think that's a great plug for Contact in the Desert because, like we were just saying, we all do want to know more about the great mysteries of our universe and the great mysteries of our planet, the great mysteries of consciousness. And there's going to be experts, or as much as you can be an expert on these mysterious topics at Contact in the Desert. So if you do want to know more, Contact is the place to be at.
100%. And again, if you're into this community, you're already in seventh heaven because you know all these people. And if you're not, this is a great way to get a cursory overview of all of that. In just 5 days, you can get such a better understanding of all of these different disciplines. That's where it's really great to me. Many of us that are knee deep in this community know these people, know these topics, and it's of course awesome for us. But if you're not familiar with these people, it's great to kind of get a sense of, these are what the military guys are saying. These are what experiencers are saying happened to them. This is what sightings are like. This, you can really a lot of the reviews, Gordon and I hear all the time that people will say, like, that week opened my eyes to, I have a whole new view on life and that kind of a thing. They have these great, profound experiences. And it was that way for me. So I get it. I felt that weekend was instantly, I'm like, this is my favorite week of the year. And oh my God, look at all the stuff I've got exposed to, some things I didn't necessarily agree with or believe in, and other things I thought, oh my God, I never thought of it that way, but that's probably true. And then it kind of gets you to go down these rabbit holes, and you get an interest in one of these areas or whatever, or maybe it reflects back on something that happened to you 20 years ago, or maybe somebody else, like your story, you're going to run into somebody at Contact that has, I saw a mist being when I was here or there, and it's going to be like, oh, what do you think it was? And maybe they've got some interesting ideas. I don't know.
Right. That's the whole point of it.
It's, if nothing else, it's fun. At the end of the day, it's fun. I mean,
absolutely.
I think it's really, really interesting, and it gets the mind going. And I think that's what it's all about.
Hey, we're talking about the live stream. Where can people go to watch the live stream? Is it free? Do you pay a fee? How does that work?
No, we contracted it out with Pursuing X. It's available on our website, contactinthedesert.com. You can go under the buy tickets, and then there's a thing to buy replays. So you can, afterwards, you can buy like all of it, and you can basically experience all, I think there's 126 presentations that we do in 5 days, 126 or something like that. But you can participate live, and it's like buying a ticket to the event, but you buy a ticket for the online event. And then you can go into a space, and you can watch on the big, the big screen in the Crystal Ballroom, which is our panel room. And it's also got a chat room on the bottom, and you can do different things during the event as well. During the breaks, people talk. They go to different chat rooms. They can, get live updates from what's happening in other parts of Contact in the Desert. It's a whole thing, and they do a really great job. If you get it, then you can watch it again. Like, you get it for like a year. It's not like you can just have to participate that weekend. You can watch it for the whole year. And then also you can go later and watch some of the replays, depending what package you get. You can watch replays. And I think you can buy individual speakers. Like, I'm interested only in the military guys. I'm interested in the government guys. I'm interested in the psi abilities. I'm interested in learning how to do mind sight. You can purchase these individual things, and then you kind of get a sense of that. So it's a really great thing. It's done very well. It's a great resource. Again, I'm always a fan of doing these things live because there's this human connection that's so great. But if you can't make it, or you can't do it, or you for whatever reason, what a great backup. And there still is a community sense there, because again, a lot of people participate in the chat, and there's people from all over the world doing it. I have no idea how they find out about us. We just do a little bit of advertising, and we have our social, and we have the podcast. But we have people from Beijing and people from Belgium and people from Pakistan in the chat room. Yeah, I'm watching from Pakistan live. What? I think that's awesome.
One of the highlights, could you see that on screen?
I see it, absolutely.
Let's play. It's a little short I made. One of the highlights in the summer is Contact in the Desert. Let me tell you why you should go. Joe with UAP Reporting Center, brought to you by Beyond Top Secret. For people interested in UFOs, UAPs, ancient civilizations, consciousness, or any of the bigger mysteries in our universe, Contact has become one of the most important gatherings anywhere in the world. This year, I'm going to be covering the event. I'm going to be meeting people, filming interviews, walking around, and I'm going to be sharing everything I can with you guys. So if you're going to Contact in the Desert, come and say hello. Subscribe to the channel, because I'll be posting interviews with speakers. I'll be posting footage from the event and everything interesting that happens out there in the desert. I'll see you out there, and keep looking up.
Joe, that's a great little spot. I love it.
Yeah. Yeah.
So between your reporting and jumping in the chat room, and you could feel like you're being part of the event. And I think that's really wonderful. I do think the online thing is a great addition. We've only started that a couple of years ago, and I think it's a nice addition for people who can't make it there. You can really kind of still learn about all these things and feel part of it. It really is valuable.
Yeah, I agree. And that's kind of my whole deal in going is just posting on Twitter and I saw this person at Contact or this person just said this. And, everybody it makes it feel like which it is an event, but it makes people who are not there feel like they're also part of the event and kind of builds excitement to the next year even.
I agree. I think it's awesome. I love supporting that stuff. I always Lori will grab me sometimes and I'll go on that thing and talk to people and they'll ask questions like, well, what's happening and what did Sheehan do? And that kind of thing. And we'll just talk about it. So you can pull me over at some point.
That would be great. I'll hold you to that.
Yeah. No worries, man. I'm happy to do it. I think it's great. I want everybody to feel part of this. Contact, there's no ego for any of us. We've got, Bree and I do a lot of this during the year, but we have 10 people that come on board and help us put this thing on. And there's no egos in this. There's no anything like that. It's just Contact as a life of its own, and we're curators and we do the best we can. And it's fun for us too. And we think it's great just to be part of it. And it's great that this whole community kind of rallies around it. And it's just like a nice thing in life to have this thing. So yeah, if you can't make it there, join online, be part of it, get involved. And there's going to be something of interest you're going to see.
That says it all. I could not agree more. Anybody that can physically get there and that has the means to get there. For people that are part of this community, we talk about this stuff all year long. This is the one chance for everybody to be under one roof, to have a party for a couple days, talk to each other, learn some stuff, and just have a lot of fun. So if you can get to Indian Wells, California, May 28th to June 1st, try to get there. It's well worth it.
We think of it sometimes like it's almost like an annual banquet in this community. Like, what's the latest thing Dolan's written? What's the latest thing this guy's working on? What's the latest news out of Washington? Are we going to get more hearings? Who would know more about that than Danny Sheehan? Who would know more about Dr. Eric Davis is going to be there, for God's sakes. Incredible. So it's just a lot of fun.
Yeah, I could not agree more. Captain Ron, where can people find you?
You can basically get me at contactinthedesert.com too. I have a whole thing on there. They have the Beyond Contact podcast and all of our social media links and stuff for the show. So you can always get in touch with us that way, right on there. Contact in the Desert has become a very comprehensive website. So there's a lot of things. If you go there, anything to do with me or that event, it's all on there, brother.
Awesome. Well, I know you're busy. I want to thank you for taking the time to join us, letting our audience hear what you have to say. Like we've just been saying, if you can get to Contact in the Desert, do it. If not, go to contactinthedesert.com. You can find out how to watch it online there. But if you can get there, get there. And if you do go there, make sure you stop me and I'll buy you a beer.
You heard that. I'm going to take that clip and put it on our social and blast it everywhere. You better bring your wallet, Joe, because this is going to get expensive for you, because everybody that works at Contact will now hold you to that. And then I'm going to get this out there everywhere. Good call.
Everybody's
I'll at least hold it to you personally.
Picture of me. That's him. Hey, but Ron, thank you for joining us. It was an absolute pleasure to meet you. I look forward to seeing you.
A lot of fun. I love talking about these kind of things. That's fun, man. Thanks so much.
Take care, Ron. Bye.
Bye-bye.
All right, everybody. That was Captain Ron from Contact in the Desert. It was absolute pleasure having him on. Thanks for watching Beyond Top Secret, powered by UAP Reporting Center. Make sure you subscribe to the channel, like the video. I'll have a link for Contact down in the comments. You can also buy this sweatshirt down in the comments, plus a whole lot more. This is our brand new merch from our merch store. There's a lot of cool stuff on there. So that's it. Thanks for coming by, and we'll see you on the next one.